Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm Julia Polston. I'm the manager of talent development with ICI. And today I have the honor of having Kip Bancroft with me today. He's the general sales manager for Westside Tractor Sales. Thanks so much for joining me today, Kip.
Julia, thank you. Good morning. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Great. So, how long have you been with Westside Tractor Sales?
So I've been with Westside since they acquired the assets of Holt Equipment Company in Indiana since that occurred in December of 2010. So I'm going
there for about 10 years. So when people hear the name Westside Tractor Sales, obviously they think of equipment and
We hope so.
equipment. So can you tell us a little bit more in depth about Westside Tractor Sales? You know, what they do, what they specialize in. Tell us all things about Westside Tractor Sales.
Yeah. So what we found is contractors of all sizes and varieties turn to Westside when they get frustrated with the status quo of their current supplier, or they get frustrated by lack of response from those folks. So we think as a John Deere construction and forestry dealer that covers 68, 69 counties in Indiana, plus about 14 counties in northern Illinois, that we're well positioned to service those customers. So again, John Deere is the bulk of our business, probably 90% of what we're known for. We have other supporting equipment that goes along with it. From our 11 branches, we cover, like I say, most of Indiana and that northern portion of Illinois that includes Chicago. What we specialize in really is listening to what our customers need and trying to put together a solution that fits what they need to support their desires and dreams and outcomes rather than ours. We feel like if we listen and we bring the right solution, then we'll gain their business and we'll be able to keep that business moving forward.
As a general sales manager for Westside Tractor Sales, what exactly does that position all entail? So what exactly does that mean that you do for Westside Tractor Sales?
So in a company our size, it means a lot of different things. I mean, ultimately, my job responsibilities are to help increase sales and profitability and take care of our customers. Any day that can look a whole lot different. Like today, I'm in Bloomington. We've got some COVID issues going on in different branches, so I'm down here kind of helping out just in general. Some days it means I'm on the telephone supporting salesmen. The beautiful days where I get to go out and play golf with our customers. So it's a variety of things I get to do. And it's probably the thing I like the most about my job is every day is different. Again, in general, my job is to make sure that our sales team has the tools and resources they need to provide support for our customers.
So thinking about before, when you were younger, before your career in highway construction, how did you get into the sales side of highway construction?
Well, it was really by accident. So my dad has always been in the construction industry in one way or the other. I'm from Michigan City. I was born and raised there, and he worked at several different companies up there. And after college and through college, I worked on a couple of different road crews. I was on an asphalt crew for a while. I did deep sewer work for a contractor up in Southwest Michigan. But so I had some experience, and I was in sales for heating and air conditioning. And that job required me to wear a suit and tie every day. So I'm in my suit and tie. I'm visiting my dad at his place of work, a construction company in New Buffalo. And the owner of the John Deere dealership happened to be there visiting my father as well. He saw me and he decided that anybody that could wear a coat and tie every day probably deserved a chance at going into sales of heavy equipment. So we got to talking. He made me an offer, and I started as a rental manager or rental coordinator in early of 1991. And then from there, I just kind of took the role of salesman when an opportunity came along and did that for 6 years. Then I moved to Fort Wayne with my wife and 2 children, and I was the general manager of that company. We got bought out through Holt Equipment. I managed to stay on board and hold a couple different roles before we moved to Indianapolis back in 2006.
Oh, that's amazing. I love, my career kind of is similar to yours where I kind of just fell into it.
Yeah, I mean, for years we would drive by the location in South Bend, and I always thought, man, would it be cool to work at the John Deere dealership? And then when I finally got in there, I was like, all right, this is cool. And almost 30 years later, I still I still enjoy what I do every day.
Thinking about before you joined the team at Westside Tractor Sales, can you think of what made you want to join the team? What made you want to work for Westside? Did anything stick out to you that you can remember?
Yeah. So again, when they made the acquisition, it was a difficult time in the industry when they came into Indiana. And fortunately for all of us that were there, the bank family who owns Westside took the position that they were going to kind of just leave everybody in place and see what was what, if you will. So it didn't take me very long. I had known the banks just a little bit through our relationship as John Deere dealers and knew their reputation as a good company. Just very rapidly in the first 30 days, I think we both came to realize it was probably a good fit, mostly because of the morals and ethics that they run their business by and that I live my life by. So it was a nice fit there. And so the prospect of leaving a company that I thought maybe had some potential to grow and do the things properly really did not appeal. So I stayed there. They felt like it was a good fit from their side. And like I say, here we are 10 years later, being very successful.
Can you think of what your favorite part of your job is within the highway construction industry at Westside Tractor Sales?
Yeah, still to this day, my favorite part is driving along a job site that includes John Deere equipment, being used by our customers to really build the infrastructure of this country, right? As a salesman years ago, I always got a kick out of seeing the tractors I sold on job sites. I don't have that direct connection, but I still get excited when I see our customers using our equipment to build these wonderful projects around the state, right? It's just, like I say, I still get a charge out of it.
No, I love that. And also too, like being in the industry, even though like I'm not someone who's out in the field or anything, you definitely get a sense of pride when you see companies that you're familiar with, or in my case, it would be a member of ICI. When I drive past a job site and I do exactly what my dad does, I'm surprised I've like broken my neck looking back trying to see if I know what company's on the trucks. But you definitely like get a sense of pride seeing bridges and roads being built because you know that you have some part, even if it's a little bit, on growing the community and making the community a better place because those are things that everybody uses all the time. So it's great to know that you have a part of that and you can drive over it and know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think our members, I mean, they do such fantastic work. You think about people that aren't in our industry, don't really understand what it takes to build a mile of new road or rehab an existing bridge or things like that. And just the knowledge and the experience and the expertise that it takes for the contractor members to perform the work they do, like I said, just to be a small part of that, to provide one part of that solution is just exciting.
Can you think of a time where back when you were younger, whether it was when you were a kid or when you were in school, that you just knew you wanted to have a career in highway construction, or did that moment happen when you were kind of already in your career?
I think somewhere deep down I knew that's probably always what I wanted to do again, just because my dad had always been around that stuff. I was always fascinated by the equipment side of it. Like I said, my experience working as a laborer on both the asphalt and the deep sewer crew gave me another side of the business, right? But I was always enamored with the iron and what it could do and how powerful it was. And again, I had every Tonka truck. I had the sandbox. I was always playing in it. And I guess in a lot of respects, I've never really left that sandbox, right? The toys are bigger, the box is bigger. But I'm still just, again, excited to be involved in that side of it. I love the industry and the fact that it gives our customers a chance to utilize some of the latest technology that's out there.
Oh,
I mean, really cutting edge stuff, right? And I remember when they told me that 25 years ago, one day dozers and motor graders will run all by themselves. And I was like, that's never going to happen. Well, here we are, right? So I guess in a lot of ways, I always knew that's where I wanted to be, but I didn't know a direct path how to get there.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that with the latest technology, because I feel like a misconception of our industry when you're talking to people who aren't directly involved with it. They think that highway construction is kind of an old school industry, which in some aspects we are. But when they hear that, they think we're kind of behind the times. But in reality, with all the equipment that we have in the industry, we really do have cutting edge technology. Once you tell people about that and you're talking to students, for instance, like in high school about different industries and career opportunities for them, I feel like when they find out that information, it makes the industry more appealing to them.
Well, I agree because I think everybody thinks that everybody is muddy, dirty. And there is a lot of that, right? We still work in the dirt and the mud, but the technology, and it's being driven right by all sides of it. I mean, machine control. You got equipment manufacturers like Deere and Caterpillar who are at the forefront of all of these technologies. So it really is very exciting. I mean, I feel the same way about our sales team when I talk to people who don't understand what we do, and I explain that if you took away construction equipment from the job description, the sales jobs on our side of the world match up with aircraft and high-end imaging equipment and some of the most durable, difficult things there are to sell out there in the marketplace. And so this industry is just full of opportunity for no matter what you're interested in. We've got it, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely. What would you say is or has been the most rewarding part about your job and working in the highway construction industry?
That's pretty easy. And you mentioned it earlier. It's the relationships, right? This industry in particular, I feel, has provided a great opportunity for everybody that's involved in it to build really good relationships. It's a huge industry. It's a relatively small pool of people that are in it, right? So the opportunity to continually interact with the same people and extend those relationships again from 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago is just amazing. The people I have met are some of the most gracious, kind, smartest people I've ever come across. And really with one common goal, right? Even though there's a lot of competition in our industry between vendors like myself and the other people who do what we do and the contractors, we all get along because we understand that a healthy industry is good for all of us. And so it's those relationships again with our customers, with our vendors, with our manufacturers, and really even with our competitors.
Yeah, that's another thing that I love about our industry too is, ICI, we started the Leadership Institute last year, and for the younger generation of our industry, and I think that's one thing that kind of surprises people who are newer to the industry is, when you're part of organizations like ICI, or even if you're not, there's a lot of opportunities for you to get in the same room with people who you compete with, but I feel like mostly everyone, when it comes to the competitive part, but then there's the relationship part, they kind of put the competitiveness off to the side to where you can build those relationships with people because hey, you never know, even if it's a competitor, you never know when you're going to need to make a phone call later on in your career.
That's right. Well, and think about ICI and how there has to be some of that cooperation between everybody to make an organization like ICI work, right? If everybody was all about themselves, ICI and other issues like that would never happen because you got to be able to set aside some of that competitiveness to make sure you've got the industry to be in.
Yeah, definitely. As a general sales manager at Westside Tractor Sales, what would you say is the number one skill set to have to succeed in your role?
Listening. Active listening. And I'm not sure that's any different than most jobs, but in particular, and it's a skill that I've really learned in the last 10 years from the bank family. They do a tremendous job of listening to all of us and considering that input before they make a decision. If we listen actively to what our customers say, what our vendors say, we can start to put together some really creative solutions for everybody. Right behind listening, I would probably say empathy and compassion.
Thinking back to your younger self, is there any advice that you can think of that you would have liked to have given yourself to help in your success as an adult?
Probably would tell myself to slow down a little bit, pay more attention, listen, not necessarily to the advice, but listen to what others are saying and formulate my own opinion based on that. But listen more and react more slowly. Those are learning curves for all of us, right? I mean, as we mature and understand that the world isn't all about us or that we're not the smartest guy in the room,
You are the prime example of people in our industry that I like to talk when I'm talking to high school students, tell them about. Meaning, you put a shovel in the dirt. So you have firsthand experience in being out on a job site and working your way up to the sales side of highway construction. So that's something I always tell kids all the time. There's so many opportunities for you, and you're not just picking a job, you're choosing a career path ultimately when you choose highway construction. And like we've mentioned earlier in our conversation about the amount of opportunities, there's something for everybody in our industry. So if you happen to be in front of a class at a high school talking about highway construction, and a few students mention that they're considering going into our industry, whether they choose the college route or the skilled trades route, what advice would you give them, or what would you tell them to encourage that decision for them to choose our industry?
I would tell them it's probably the best decision of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there is really unlimited opportunities, right? Whether you want to stay on the contractor side of it or move to the vendor side. But I think about all of the people that I know that started out as a laborer or an operator and now own their own companies and provide, great services to their customers. But more importantly, they provide a way of life for their employees and their people. And so I really think our industry gives opportunity based on performance. And in some cases, you certainly have to have the degree, right? I mean, they're not going to let you just become an engineer without the proper training. But there are so many roles in our industry that don't require that. And I think the trades today are a great avenue for a ton of people to earn really good livings and
Mm-hmm.
provide for their families and be productive and satisfied in what they do. I think about myself. I mean, I've attended college. I have not graduated, but here I have a job that really is beyond what anything I could have considered would be possible. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all through hard work and opportunity. So I would tell them to jump in with both feet and find something about the industry they like, and it'll take care of itself.
So thank you so much, Kip, for taking time out of your day to talk with me about all things Westside Tractor sales, but most importantly, telling us about your career path.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.